AAT Birds Weekly Report is the Eagle news, notes, and analysis you need. It's all birds, all the time.
And what's up, everybody? Going to break down this Philadelphia Eagles wild card win against the Green Bay Packers, 22-10. Chip's joining me as always, and we're going to break it down. We're going to do a short little show tonight, and then Friday night we're going to do the inside swoop, breaking down the Eagles' next opponent, which is the LA Rams. And the reason I pushed the recap show a little bit later is because I wanted to know the Eagles' opponent. I didn't want to just speculate who they may play. I know this is a breakdown show, but I thought that was definitely something I wanted to have, 100%. And like I did that. I wanted to have that done and have that absolutely marked down.
And I also think that pushing the show to having an opponent is important because we're obviously going to break down the game. We allowed the game to breathe a little bit rather than having just quick initial reactions. You and I were texting furiously that very night. But I do think that giving it a little chance to breathe, knowing the severity of some of the injuries and then waiting to do the next part of the show, will provide a more thorough all about the birds experience for our listeners.
So, of course, you look at the Eagles matchup and they win. The defense, absolutely stellar. Nolan Smith, 2 sacks, absolutely coming into his own. And it's awesome to see the way he plays football because it's not just, it's not just like, it's the first the hit on the offensive tackle knocks him out of the game, gets a stinger. It's just like watching him play football.
Which changed the entire outcome of the game. Knocking out the tackle.
That's the best lineman. Their best offensive lineman.
And then seeing that their second guy is having a Jamone Brown level of game where he got beat, and then literally having to reshuffle the line again and bring somebody else in because he was having such a bad game. Nolan Smith earned a game ball for his game. He was my stud of the game. That guy played out of his mind. So much so, and I forget who said it in our chat, Bryce Huff had how many snaps?
1 snap. I said it, I believe. I think I said 1 snap. He had 1 snap he played. And you look at Nolan Smith and what he does, it's just like I couldn't fathom. Like, I knew he was going to be a decent player. I thought he would grow himself into a solid defensive end. But he's really coming into his own, and he plays the run. He plays the pass. He does so many different things for this defense, and it helps him. And the other cool thing, too, is the Eagles' defense. They're the youngest defense in the NFL, and they're the number 1 defense in the NFL. Like, you had Slay, Q, and Bond get interceptions. The defense and special teams, 4 forced turnovers. You had the opening kickoff turnover, setting the tone. And I think that is just such a monumental thing when you look at this team and able to do that. Then you get the short field and you're able to convert it and you're able to get the touchdown. And it was great to see Jahan Dotson get a touchdown because it shows that and brings that confidence because of, looking at the end of the regular season against the Giants, he had almost 100 yards receiving. Then he gets the touchdown in the wild card game. It's awesome to see him to be able to get, work his way up a level when it comes to the postseason. Yes, he didn't have many catches, but listen, he had a touchdown catch in a big, crucial, I think it was 3rd down at that point. But, Jalen Hurts, I know his stat line isn't the greatest and everyone's listen, 13 to 21, 131 yards, 2 touchdowns, no turnovers. I'm sorry.
No turnovers. Let's focus on that.
Was he a little rusty?
I will tell you, it wasn't even the rust. When I look at the game plan that was built for Jalen Hurts, it was so very safe. And it was also, at the same time, it was completely dangerous. Like, it reminded me so much of when they played the first time, all the way back all those months ago, where, yes, it was run focused, but it was focused on Jalen Hurts pulling the ball and running, where you've seen success even last week when they played against the Giants. You saw success with Tanner McKee when he was quick read ball out, quick read ball out, quick read ball out. And they did not do that, which is shocking because Jair Alexander didn't play. A.J. Brown should have had a humongous game. And for him to have the game that he did, and therefore leading to the focus of what book he's reading on the sideline, which is now an Amazon bestseller, I just think that the game plan was overly safe and at the same time entirely wrong offensively.
But you also, too, look at the Green Bay Packers. They are the 6th ranked defense. They're probably the best defense in the NFC that's left. That's no longer left. They are very talented. They're the 3rd youngest defense. They can rush the passer a little bit here. They have some really good, solid young players. I just think too, like there was a couple instances where, they brought the blitz and they couldn't get it out, or just the route tree wasn't the best. I just thought there wasn't enough motion. There should have been a little bit more motion with, Devontae or AJ or
my analysis of the similarity to when they played in Brazil. The game plan looked so similar.
Yeah, except for there's no turnovers, which was a good thing. But
I said the game plan, not the game execution.
Yeah, I just think too, when you look at, this offense, can at times it struggles. Yes, I think the one thing that you have to be a little bit, in happy about would be the way that they are scoring points. They are scoring points early now when they used to come out to very, very slow starts. I think they said 4 or 5
let's
games.
break the game down right from the start, where special teams made a game-changing play. You defer
Absolutely
the kickoff, and you go, no, we're going to send our defense out. Jordan Mailata was giving an interview. I was listening to a little bit of, the one radio station, and Jordan Mailata was doing his radio, and he goes, I wanted to go out there. Like, the crowd was electric. He said this all Australian, by the way. He goes, the crowd was electric. I wanted to go out there, but, we were told we had to defer. You can't try to, throw a coin toss. And then Oren Burks does that, and he gets his wish in a short field, and they get to dominate right away.
Yeah, and, I just think able to go down the field, get that touchdown right away was a big-time tone setter. And, just watching this defense, it's just so fun. Like, love seeing the way this defense executes, the way it plays. Did they have, a little bit too many missed tackles? Yes. Josh Jacobs, he will force a lot of missed tackles.
Also discuss one of the main reasons why the missed tackles. Oren Burks is not a sure-handed tackler like Nakobe Dean is. And I do think moving forward, I hope that doesn't turn into a humongous problem. I hope it's more of the 2017 mindset of next man up. But there was definitely a noticeable drop-off in that specific aspect of it. The flip side of that is, my God, Zach Bond is everywhere.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he is everywhere. Can do everything. Yeah, this is probably one of the best free agent signings in Eagles history. Like, it's going to go down. And I think too, like, you look at the Nakobe Dean injury, and I definitely see Jeremiah Trotter Jr. getting some play, some run, especially with Vic Fangio's comments. How he said the time may be now, the future may be now. Let me throw this at you, and I posted it today. You can't tell me there wouldn't be one of the loudest pops if he gets a tackle behind the line of scrimmage or a sack, and he does that axe chop.
He's been waiting. He's been waiting for the right moment because, like, he got a sack, and he didn't really do it because it was one of those, like, the quarterback kind of kept the ball and kind of ran it.
Yeah.
If he gets a legitimate clean sack or something huge, he's going to, in the middle of the playoffs, do something explosive.
Yeah. And it's going to make a huge, huge pop, definitely.
And think about all the way back to when we were doing our draft stuff. When I said not to speak the narrative into action, but every single time there's the player that the Eagles fan base wants, and they did get their guy that the fan base wants. Now we want the nostalgia of a number 54 trotter doing something huge and being able to cheer for him. I mean, it's just such a cool thing that we never, like, again, the Eagles fans kind of wished it and spoke it and dreamed it into existence, but now it's actually happening.
Yeah, and I think too. Also, there was a couple nice catches by Dallas Goedert. The one-handed on the right side, and then the other one where he had the 3 stiff arms to get into the end zone when Green Bay was bringing basically an all-out blitz. And I thought that was great. And also the A.J. Brown block ahead of that as well really shows you, what this team is and, how they can beat you a number of ways. So, it was fun to see. And, of course, I do agree with Saquon's slide. I get it.
I do,
but
too. So I have been, since you brought up Dallas Goedert, I have been the biggest proponent of he's just average, and what we get with Grant Calcaterra is exactly the same. And for the first time and the biggest stage, I saw what Dallas Goedert was able to do that Grant Calcaterra could not. The 3 stiff arms, those yards after the catch, the absolute sheer determination to get into the end zone. Dallas Goedert is on his way to being a top-tier tight end in this league.
I think he's closer to that than you say, but hey,
it's the injuries and the consistency for me.
Yeah, the injuries are a big issue, absolutely, and he's not getting any younger. He is 29, going to be 30. So, that's something that's very worrisome in the aspect of, he's not a young tight end up and coming. He's in his prime essentially, and he doesn't have much left in terms of prime.
And say that magically, and I do not see this happening, but say that magically, Tyler Warren becomes available, right, in this year's upcoming draft, and the Eagles are right there to scope him. You go get Tyler Warren, right? You know what I mean? He is.
They've done the same thing. When Selleck was on the roster, they got Ertz. When Ertz was on the roster, they got Goddard. When Goddard's on the roster, his contract runs out after next year, I believe. They're gonna get somebody, and if it's Tyler Warren, if it's Harold Fannin, if it's Colston Loveland, if it's Mason Taylor, there's a ton of talent on the tight end circuit in the draft.
Say that 5 times. Say that 5 times. Tons of talent on the tight end.
Yeah, I'm not going to say that 5 times. I'm not going to slur my words there. But I won't sound very good doing that. But I don't know. I just think the Dallas Goedert, what he can do, blocking and everything. But I do think that they're going to be addressing that situation because
even the tight end 2 position is just like Grant Calcaterra is doing a respectable job as tight end 2, but no one else that they have on the roster has really done what you need them to do.
No.
Let's get into some of the failures of this Eagles game. So concerning. Still very concerned about our kicking game. Yeah. Not kickoffs anymore now that Jake Elliott's allowed to kick the ball off. Yeah. They rectified that mistake.
That missed extra point, it was just like, I was like, you got to be kidding me. Like, especially in that type of the game where they score, like,
it was still close at that point.
Please don't be only up 6 points and let them have the last drive to try to drive down to win. Like, it just, Now, it was nice to see their kicking game struggle a little bit with the missed field goal by McManus, who has been really good since they've gotten him.
Really nice to see Jordan Love look just as average as possible.
Yeah, that too. But, the kicking game definitely is a concern. And it's something that, you look at, especially you look at Sunday's game because the temperatures and the cold and potential light snow and the 10 to 15 mile an hour winds with gusts probably up to 20, 25.
Well, those are games where you don't send out the kicker. And in reality, right? So you win this week. I think the Detroit and Washington game is going to be a little bit closer than people think it's going to be. Beyond that, you're kicking in a dome for the rest of the season.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll get into, if you win this game.
There is one more negative that we do have to discuss. And
oh boy.
I have not shared this thought with you, but the All About the Birds team has moved into the realm of wrestling, professional wrestling. Quinyon Mitchell's pedigree was an absolute abysmal failure. So much so that Triple H reached out. So much so that Triple H reached out and said, "This is why you don't try this at home, but congrats on the win."
No, it's very true. It's very true. I saw that. I said that was absolutely terrible.
Did Cooper DeJean know that there was a pedigree coming?
I don't know. I don't know.
It's been so long since they probably practiced that move for his first interception, because it was his first interception. CJ Gardner-Johnson did not steal it out of the air. But
yeah,
that was a terrible pedigree.
You got to give props to Slay. That was a hell of a catch.
Was that a route? I thought I read somewhere. Was that really his first
of the year? Yeah, no corner. No cornerback, I believe. No corner had an interception. It was just safeties. Blankenship and CJ, GJ, and Zach Bond and Nakobe Dean. Those are the only interceptions this year.
DeJean didn't have – we were that bad on interceptions? I know we weren't getting turnovers, but I didn't realize that numbers-wise it was that.
DeJean didn't have one. Slay didn't have one. And neither did Q.
Do you blame me for wanting to see the Chiefs lose on Sunday? I'm going to be honest. I'm so tired of the Kansas City Chiefs.
I agree with that.
It's not a personal thing. It's just I don't care really who comes out of the AFC. If the Eagles are in the Super Bowl, I'll be very excited. I'm just so tired of the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm chiefly exhausted.
That's good. Thank you. No, I don't. Listen, it's going to be – there's going to be some really good games. It's going to be very fun weekend of football, because I think the Houston-KC game is going to be pretty good. I think the Washington-Detroit game is going to be good. Listen, if Washington wins and the Eagles win, Eagles get the home NFC Championship game, and to be able to get revenge.
And they are not losing that game again.
Yeah. So
I will say, watching the Eagles start to implode against Green Bay in the second half reminded me way too much of that Washington game, which makes me worry. Okay, so the first half of the season, we didn't do anything great in the first half, but then we would finish strong. Now our new fun game is start strong and kind of peter out. No, we got to go foot on the gas the whole way.
Yeah. And kind of make up for, basically do what you were basically on par with doing, and basically on your way. You were on your way to beating them pretty good before the Jalen concussion. So it's going to be interesting. I still think Detroit wins that game. That's just my opinion on that. And I think the night game on Sunday after the Eagles game is going to be
game of the year.
It's MVP battle. Is that, if you want to call it that? That's going to be.
Luckily, the MVP voting is already done, but that is of the year.
Yeah, no, that's going to be a good game, and I'm happy it's at 6:30, because it's something to, listen. You're in the playoffs. All these games, they're not going to be really. They shouldn't be stinkers now. Now, the first week wasn't the best, and again, that's why I don't believe adding a seventh playoff team was a good idea. I like the 2 bye weeks.
We've seen this even when the Eagles were the 7th playoff team. Adding the playoff team just dilutes the actual capable teams.
Yeah. And then, you're looking at in the future, are they going to add an 8th team? Which I think would be a monumental mistake. But hey, we'll see when it comes to that time. But, the Eagles get the win 22-10. We'll be back on Friday night to discuss the Eagles Rams matchup and kind of what we like and some other things. And I do want to bring up, we'll bring it up on Friday, because it goes a little bit into the Eagles with Nick Sirianni, the ESPN piece that came out. I want to get into that a little more in depth on Friday. So we'll go over that. We'll go over, all the matchups, whether it's, Eagles run game versus the defense. So they've got a lot to get into, but should be fun. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and we'll be back on the other side on Friday to break it down. So we always end it with a Go Birds.
This is Matt Ware. Hey, for all the Eagle content you need, go follow All About the Birds. They do a damn thing. Check them out.
Hey, Eagles fans, I may be in Tampa, but I know where to find the best Eagles content out there. Check out my friends at All About the Birds.
Philadelphia, what's up? This your boy Freddie Mitchell, a.k.a. Fred X. It's all about the bird.
All birds all the time. All birds all the time.
All About the Birds provides you with weekly analysis, game recaps, informative interviews, and it's all birds all the time.